What's up guys, we're at the launch of the Smart #3. It's the latest electric car in Malaysia and the second electric car from Smart Malaysia. Like the #1, we get 3 variants of the #3. So there's the Pro, Premium and Brabus. Let's have a look at it. Now you might say that the #3 is simply a coupe version of the #1, but it isn't exactly that. The #3 is slightly lower, wider and longer. Even the wheelbase is slightly longer by a few centimeters, so it does drive a bit differently. Now I am standing right in front of the premium variant, so if you look closely at the headlights, there's a writing that says CyberSparks LED Plus. Now this is a set of matrix LED headlights, and it is the same one that you find on the Brabus variant. Now the only variant that doesn't get the CyberSparks LED Plus is the Pro variant, and that gets the CyberSparks LED, which are not matrix LED headlights. Like the #1 is also Mercedes-Benz inspired in terms of design and Geely underpinnings on the inside. At the front, you also get the LED strip like the #1, and underneath the hood, it does have a frunk. Come to the sides and you see the coupe roofline of the #3. But before that, so let's first address the wheels on this car. This one is the premium. So Pro and Premium both get 19-inch wheels with different designs, but the Brabus #3 gets 20-inch wheels, which is also bigger than the #1 Brabus, which only gets 19-inch wheels. Surprisingly, on the #3 Brabus, it does get a set of Continental Eco Contact 6 tires. You would think that a performance car would get something high performance, right? And one trivia here is the badge. On the #1, it was on the C-pillar. Here it is on the front fender. And as we move to the back, you look at this coupe roofline. This is the signature of the #3. And from the back, I just think that the car looks like a GLC coupe. One unique thing at the back is how you open the boot. Now let me show you how to open that. Now if this is your first time opening the tailgate of the #3, you might be looking here, rubbing here all around, but there's nothing there. Now the real way to open the tailgate is by pressing the button, which is the hole inside the letter A. So press it right there and the tailgate will open, just like that. If we're talking about performance, the odd one out here is the Brabus, which gets a dual motor setup. So the Pro and Premium get a single motor rear wheel drive setup, which output 272 metric horsepower and 343 Newton meters of torque and do 0 to 100 in 5.8 seconds. The Brabus with a dual motor setup puts out 428 metric horsepower and 543 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 is done in just 3.7 seconds. All cars have a same top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. If we talk about battery and range, the odd one out here is the Pro, which gets a smaller 49 kilowatt-hour LFP battery, which gives a range of 325 kilometers on the WLTP test cycle. As for the Premium Brabus, they both get a 66 kilowatt-hour NCM battery, but with different ranges since the Brabus puts out more power. So the Premium does 455 kilometers on the WLTP test cycle, while the Brabus does 415 kilometers. As for charging, the Pro variant can only handle 7.2 kilowatts AC charging with single phase, and this takes about 6 hours to go from 10% to 80%. And the Pro can do 150 kilowatts maximum with DC charging, and this charges the car from 10% to 80% in about 22 minutes. As for the Premium and the Brabus with their bigger batteries, they both can handle 22 kilowatts AC charging at maximum, and this takes about 3 hours to charge from 10% to 80%. Both Premium Brabus can also handle 150 kilowatts DC charging at maximum, and this charges the cars from 10% to 80% in 29 minutes. Like the outside, it's also Mercedes-Benz inspired on the inside. So look at this center console with the covered cubby spaces. They look exactly like what you would find in a Mercedes-Benz. Now compared to the #1 that we get in Malaysia, the premium version, this is also a premium, but it doesn't get that white hard plastic. I think the one in the #3 Premium looks so much better. Even the seats look a bit sportier. So the #1 had this one with the plastics inside. This one looks like sports seats. Another difference between the #3 and the #1 would be the vents. So it had these horizontal like vents on the #1. These one here are 3 turbine vents. Also, what is different inside the #3 is the cheetah inside the infotainment head unit. So if you remember, in the Hashtag 1 there was a little fox. Here there's a little cheetah. And speaking of the screen, let's explore that a little bit. So in the screen you get the same globe-like design which changes according to the mode that you select in the car. And then of course in the screen itself there's a lot of apps. There's also a lot of connectivity in terms of charging. If I'm not mistaken, this car is now connected to about 80% of the chargers in Malaysia. You can find the location of all the chargers in the navigation system. Also comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, so that's always a great convenience. And as the last thing in the screen, let's just look at the quality of the 360 panorama view. I think that it is decent, not the highest quality, but enough to satisfy you. Now, what I do also like in the Hashtag 3, which is becoming a more common feature in EVs these days, is the availability of privacy glass for the Premium and the Brabus. So that is also found in cars like the Cherry or Motor E5, but still, I love the fact that privacy glass is becoming more common these days. One thing lacking though in the Hashtag 3 compared to the Hashtag 1 is that it doesn't get the sliding back seat right here, so you can't move it forward or backwards, so you're stuck with this position. Now in this position, I think for my size at 165 centimeters, I think that this is decent, but if you're a bit taller, it would probably feel a bit cramped, especially with the sloping roofline. Speaking of the roof, now this Hashtag 3, unlike the Hashtag 1, gets a glass roof that doesn't come with an electric sunshade. So this is a bit like a Tesla or a BYD seal. Look at the roof. It's a bit tinted. I hope it doesn't get too hot in our weather. And just to mention a few conveniences or nice features in the Hashtag 3's back seat, you do get an armrest here, 2 cup holders, there's a USB-A port, there's a USB-C port, there is an aircon vent, and of course, also important to mention is that the Premium and the Brabus get a Beats sound system. So that's the smart Hashtag 3 for you, 3 variants and with a starting price of 175,000 ringgit and some pretty interesting warranty packages. What do you think about the Hashtag 3? Let us know in the comments.